Hello my dear health seekers, Inga from Health Origins here and welcome to Meal Prep for Weight Loss show. So today I've got two exciting recipes for you. One is a classic, simple, tasty risotto, brown rice risotto, and another one is root vegetable stew. So let's begin. So let's start our vegetable stew, and we start with the usual by frying onions. So this is one large onion, about a cup and a half, 2 cups of onion, and my instant pot is already preheated, so we can dry fry this for a few minutes. And like usual, once it starts sticking, then put a couple of tablespoons of water to deglaze the pot and continue. So now I fried the onions for about 5 minutes. They're starting to nicely brown, and I'm gonna add 2 sticks of sliced celery and continue frying for another 3 minutes or so. It's been about 7-8 minutes. My onions and celery have fried, and now I'm going to be adding tagine spices. If you don't have tagine spices, you can just add a mixture of coriander, turmeric, paprika, cumin, onion powder, salt, ground mustard seeds, cinnamon, garlic, ginger, peppermint, parsley, and there's lemon oil as well. So just a combination of your favorite spices you can add, but I'm going to be adding about 2 tablespoons. I'm just finishing it off really. My tagine spices, and I'm going to let that toast for just about, I would say, 2.5-3 tablespoons of spices. So do a combination of coriander powder, turmeric, cumin, ginger, cinnamon, so just do a combination of these spices. So I mixed my spices up with my onion and celery, and now we're going to be adding our next ingredient, which is chopped tomatoes. So I've got 2 cans of chopped tomatoes. And I'm adding a full can of water just to rinse it out and to add some extra liquid. And the second can. So this is kind of nice tomato base with our tagine spices and onion and celery. And now I'm gonna add all the root vegetables. So I'm adding parsnip. There's a couple of good sized parsnips here. There's also 4 potatoes chopped up, and they're all chopped up into kind of 2-centimeter chunks. Then I've got my favorite celeriac root, also chopped up. Then I've got a couple of carrots chopped up too. Then I've got a sweet potato, a large sweet potato chopped up. And I'm gonna mix it all through. And if you don't have, I love my Instant Pot, so I'll link to where you can buy your own Instant Pot. This is such a time saver. You need to cook like 2 or 3 times longer on, in a normal pot on the stove. So I love my Instant Pot for that reason. But if you don't have an Instant Pot, just cook it on a hob, on a stove. I'm going to be doing for 20 minutes here, or even 25, so you would need to do for about 45 minutes on the regular stove. So I'm just going to mix it up the best I can. And then I'm also going to sprinkle some vegetable stock. So about 2 tablespoons of vegetable stock I'm going to add in. And mix that through again. You could have just added to the wet ingredients, actually, I forgot. So just add it to your tomato mixture. It'll be easier for you to mix in. So more or less mixed up. So I'm gonna put the lid on and cook it on high pressure for 25 minutes. So this is the finished root vegetable stew. I ended up having to add another cup of water because my Instant Pot was saying burn, so there's quite a bit of liquid here. If you cooking on the hob, you'll probably not need to do that, but I had to add another cup of water. But what I'm gonna do now, because I've got this cabbage to use up, I'm gonna just add this cabbage and I'm gonna cook it for another maybe 2-3 minutes on high pressure again, just so that this cabbage kind of gets steamed through. So this is the finished result. I ended up adding a cabbage, like I showed you, a full head of cabbage, because I had to use it up. It was kind of almost too much, really. And also I had to add about 1.5 cups of water because my Instant Pot kept on stopping and saying burn, because I think it was quite a lot of solid foods and not that much liquid. So yeah, and we already had, as you can see, it's much less here because we already had it for lunch and dinner already. So, and it is yummy. It probably needs a little bit more salt that we could put on our bowls and plates, but other than that, it's really yummy. And depending on what spices you end up putting, that, you know, it kind of differentiate, your stew will differentiate, but this is kind of the basics. And like I said, cabbage is optional, so you don't have to put. So this is our root vegetable stew. So another recipe is a risotto, and I'm using my Thermomix for this, but you could also do it on the stove. It just means that you'll have to mix quite a bit to prevent it sticking, whereas Thermomix already mixes as it cooks, so that's why I'm using it. So you're gonna need 1 medium onion, and I've got 1 celery sliced thin, so I'm gonna just add these in. You could chop your onion in the Thermomix as well, but I had it pre-chopped already from yesterday. And what we're going to do, we're going to saute this on, dry saute this for a few minutes. So I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm not going to put the middle bit in so that the moisture can evaporate as it's cooking. So I've put it on one kind of mixing in reverse and 120 degrees for 3 minutes, so let them fry a little bit. So I fried this for 5 minutes. It's kind of becoming translucent. So now for another couple of minutes I'm going to add 2 big tablespoons of coconut cream. Well, it's actually coconut milk, but it's at the top of the can, so it's really coconut cream. So to give that, because we're not adding any oil here or butter, but to give that creaminess, I've put a couple of big tablespoons of coconut cream, and we're gonna cook it for another 2-3 minutes with that. If you're cooking it on the stove, just basically add the coconut cream and just cook for a few minutes, stirring every so often. So I actually forgot to film for you guys when I, after I cooked the onion for a couple of minutes with the coconut cream, then I've added rice and I've cooked it for another minute, and actually I've added 1 teaspoon of onion powder as well. So now it's kind of getting towards the final stages of the risotto before we kind of put it on to cook fully. This is white wine vinegar. So you could use white dry wine if you've got some. I just happen to have this one, and we don't have any wine. We hardly drink these days, so so I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons. So if you're adding wine, add 50-60 milliliters of dry white wine and reduce the stock. But we're gonna use 750 stock and just a couple of tablespoons of the white wine vinegar to give that tanginess that you would get from the dry white wine. And I'm just gonna cook it for mix it and cook it for another minute. So now I'm gonna just move the rice a little bit, and I'm gonna be adding our stock. So this is just vegetable stock, 750 milliliters of it. And I'm gonna be putting my Thermomix on for about 15 to 20 minutes, depending when the rice gets cooked and the stock gets absorbed on 100 degrees and reverse, and on 1 on the mixing speed 1. If you're doing it on the stove, just put it on quite low and then just keep on stirring every so often. There's a lot of stirring involved with risotto, and that's why Thermomix is really great for this application. So look at this beauty. This is such a perfect risotto rice, and the kitchen smells fantastic. So it's such a basic recipe, but you could always add some additional things like some mushrooms perhaps, or some leeks instead of onion. You could experiment, but this is just a basic recipe that works really well. So now on to the taste testing as usual. Let me try this risotto for you. It smells so delicious. So altogether it took 40 minutes in total, because this is brown rice, and obviously brown rice needs to cook for 40-45 minutes. So let's give this a go. Yum. It does have a little bit of bite to it still, so if you enjoy that, that's perfect. If you would prefer the rice to be even softer, I would say do another 5 minutes, so do 45 minutes of cooking, and perhaps maybe add another 20 ml of stock, just to make sure it doesn't evaporate, it doesn't become too dry. This is so delicious. And you can add some more salt or pepper as well if you like it. I think this is just enough actually with the 750 ml of stock. It works really well. It's got enough flavouring, it's not overpoweringly salty, and it's got enough of the sourness as well from that white vinegar, as well as these 2 tablespoons, well it's probably like 3 tablespoons, because they were really large tablespoons of coconut milk, coconut cream if you like. That really added enough of that kind of fattiness, and this risotto just tastes and looks really decadent. So this is the finished product. There's a root vegetable stew here. We already, like I said, we already had some, so there was actually more that I prepared. Then I've also made my red cabbage slaw. Then Mark lovingly prepared some basmati rice here and some black beans as well. And then I made the risotto, and here I've got also cream cheese. So this is the spring onion cream cheese to have with baked potatoes, and just mixed with rice and beans as well. So this is the lot for this week. So this is the lot, week 4 meal prep done. I hope you enjoyed the videos. I personally am looking forward to eating the risotto so much. I really should be making this more often because it's so easy with the Thermomix. It does the mixing for you. You just do initial kind of cut up of onions. In fact, you don't even need to cut it up. You can just put an onion, blitz it for a few seconds, fry it, add everything together, and then let it cook for 40 minutes, or even 45 minutes if you like it softer. So yeah, I think I'll definitely need to make rice risotto more kind of frequent in our meal prep, in our cooking. So let me know which one was your favorite recipe, and for the red cabbage slaw I'll link a recipe in the description below and in the card above as well, so you can see how I make the slaw, as well as my cream cheese. I'll link for you as well. And yeah, so this is it for this week. Let me know what are you gonna be making this week? Is there any recipes that you would like me to do on the meal prep or just on the channel in general? It would be good to hear back from you. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for more videos just like this, meal prep for weight loss on Saturdays, or just yummy videos every Wednesday as well. And remember, food is fuel, so be mindful of what you put in your body. Until next time.